15th of 2026. Hope everyone is having themselves a good day heading into the weekend. And boy, that's what we're here for, right? Let's get you guys ready for the weekend to come. And we do have a lot to talk about. We are going to talk about them today. Get you guys ready for the Yankees and the Red Series. First of 3 games beginning today. And we'll talk about WWE SmackDown. 5 major matches underway this evening, available on USA Network. They're back in the country. I want to start conversations off, though, in a conversation that I had from yesterday, talking about the Cincinnati Bengals and their mandatory practice that Zach Taylor decided that they are going to cut short and give their team an extra few days. Now, yesterday I was pretty adamant, pretty heated about this organization's days off. My argument to all of this was that the Bengals didn't have anything worthy enough to say, hey, let's take a couple of days off. And it's great to see the Bengals, knowing the playbook. It's great to see the Bengals knowing, in condition. Great. Let's work that we have to do to get everyone. And any sports team heading into the season, you do just anticipate that everybody is ready to go. There shouldn't be a case where you have to take a few extra days to get people conditioned for the start of preseason, right? But the argument that I had yesterday was more so behind the fact that out of everything that we've seen last year, a 6-13 record, a 6-11 record, a non-playoff appearance for the 3rd consecutive year, Joe Burrow expressed frustration out of the performance of this team, knowing that they could do a lot better. And I would tell myself that this team has something to prove this year. And credit where credit's due. The Bengals have went into the offseason. They have picked up players. They have had a solid draft pick, draft selection, which is not common. But to see all that positivity roll over into mandatory practice that gets canceled, to me, got under my skin a little bit. I personally believe that every ounce for a team who did not go to the playoffs this last year, or it has not been to the playoffs for the last 3 years, every ounce of effort that you could leave on that field to better the craft, to better the chemistry among these guys who are going to have to play with each other for the next 4 months, that's important. So it's great to know the playbook. It's great to be well-conditioned, but it's not great when I see the gas let off. Now, Joe Burrow is making that bold prediction. Hey, I believe that this team is a playoff team. This team is a Super Bowl team. And you know what? The argument presents itself. Thus far, on paper, who we have on our defense, who we have on our offense, if everyone can stay healthy, there is a true argument that the Cincinnati Bengals have a legitimate claim to be contenders at this year's Super Bowl, just as much so as the Baltimore Ravens, just as much so as the Denver Broncos, right? And the whole other conversation to this factor is, Well, what does it need to happen? What needs to happen for the Bengals to get over that hump, get back to the Super Bowl, and possibly win one? That's a conversation that we could have over the next 5 weeks. So yes, I do believe that the Bengals are Super Bowl contenders. And that's a lot of hope. And and I'm not saying that because I'm here in Cincinnati. I'm not saying that because we cover the Bengals all the time. I'm not saying that because I'm biased. And granted, I have not paid attention to all 32 ball clubs and what they've done this offseason. And the Bengals surely have a lot to prove. Let's not sugarcoat that. But there's no denying that based off of what we saw this offseason, the improvements that they made, they are Super Bowl contenders. And so I back that up completely. It is a frustrating thing, though, as a fan who wants to see the Bengals progress, who wants to see the Bengals be contenders this year. It is difficult when they make decisions like these. Okay, and I'm not saying that 2 practices are going to make or break this season. But could it play a factor of this season? Yes. These past 2 days that the Bengals are off can play a big factor in the outcome of their preparation this preseason, coming up in 6 weeks, of whether or not if they're going to be ready for the opening day, first game of the season, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when they roll on into town. Are they going to be ready for the Bengals or for them? And is it going to impact their performance? Now, people brush it off and say, no, you know what? 2 practices is not a big deal. And, I will agree with you. But to me, it doesn't show a sign of interest of wanting to win. Or the hype of wanting to play, have a better season than last year. That is just me. That is just my take. I'm probably the only person here in the region that is making this argument, and I may look foolish over this argument. And fine by me, let me be foolish over this argument. But this is my point of view. Now, like I said, I've been there, I've done that. Not at the pro level, but I've been there and I've done that, and I will testify that, look, getting a couple extra days is great for morale, it's great for mental health, and I could also encourage it. But this team will not interact with each other, at least players to coach's standpoint, for the next month and a half. And when they come back at the end of July, they are expected to be ready to go. Their first game is the first Thursday on the preseason, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked too far into it. So, yes, I don't think this is going to hurt. I mean, I know I say that, but, we will see. And to be honest, and this is my last point, we'll move on here in this hour. But until the Bengals can prove, you can get anybody who you want. You can go out tomorrow and pick up Joey Bosa. You could pick up, anybody. The point is that it looks good on paper, but until you could show me that on the field in results and being a 15-2 team like we know this team could do and could be, then they haven't proven to me anything yet. And we're not here at the point where we are the Kansas City Chiefs, where we're on the opposite side of the conversation of, oh, well, you can, don't count them out just yet. No, well, I'm counting you out until you prove me otherwise. So, can they be contenders? Yes. Should they be contenders? Absolutely. Does these last 2 days affect that? Possibly. All right. So, The Cincinnati Reds are about to get into a 3-game set against the New York Yankees. We took 2 out of 3 against the Mets at home earlier this week. We took 4 out of 6 against our last homestands, and we should feel excited about the Reds going on the road, possibly turning things around. They've had recent success against the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken. Let me verify that with you. Now, their all-time record here shown as my engine bars continues to search. Wow, longer than expected here, right? All right. So overall, throughout the regular season head-to-head, the Yankees are 16-15. In the playoffs, the Yankees are 8-5 against the Reds. Okay. Last game they played was at Great American Ballpark last season, June 23rd through the 25th. So we're just about a week shy from a year. The Reds took 2 out of 3 against the Yankees that weekend, losing the last game 7-1. The previous year, the Cincinnati Reds swept the Yankees on the road in Yankee Stadium. In the year prior, we saw the Yankees sweep the Reds. So the bottom line is that the Reds have recent success. Over the last 2 meetings, they are 5-1, and they are 5-4 over the last 3 years. Last time they went into extra innings, it was 11th inning last year on June 24th. They won 5-4. And it seems like, they've had some close games, right? So they did lose 7-1. They did win an 8-4 game, a 6-1 game, but 5-4, 3-2, another 5-4 win. So my point is that this is very neck to neck. And the Yankees have a 1-game lead over this. And I look at this statistically overall, not just, individual, because I tell myself, the Reds are playing good against the Yankees when they shouldn't be playing good against the Yankees. But the Yankees are 45-28. They're first place in the AL East. Just like every other year, they're, maybe in comparison to other years, the Yankees have kind of been sorting things out. But this year, the Yankees know exactly what they are doing. They know exactly where they're placed in the division and where they belong in the league. And they have shown it. And this weekend is not going to be an interesting weekend. Well, it might be. The Reds, 4-2 over the last 6 games. They are 4-6 over the last 8 games, dropping the series to the Padres as well. And they have an opportunity. We're trying to ask ourselves, when will the Reds turn things around? When will the Reds get out of their slump? Was these past 2 series at home getting them out of their slump? Right? Or are they still in their slump? Take a look here. Not my mistake. They are 3-3 in the last home series. So tonight is a very big night. It's either they're back to where they were because the future schedule ahead of them is not pretty, They go to New York. Then they come home to Milwaukee. Then they come home. They go back on the road to Pittsburgh before going to Milwaukee for 4 games before coming back to Baltimore. So this next stretch is not for the faint of heart. We've already established ourselves at our expectations yesterday that we need to just focus. We're not going to focus about Milwaukee. We're not going to focus about Pittsburgh. And we're not going to focus about Baltimore, Chicago, or Philadelphia in upcoming weeks. We focus on getting our players on the IL back. Hunter Green's throwing out. Pierce Johnson looking pretty good. Ellie De La Cruz is out there in AAA this weekend in a rehab assignment. We take on the Yankees 1 game at a time, and that's how we got to inch ourselves back to 500. That's going to be the story of the take until we could get back to 500. 35-38. I don't care about being in last place of the NL Central. Our expectations have shifted in the month of June. Tonight's ball game, first pitch, 7:05. The entire weekend series is available on Reds TV, or you can listen to it on WLW 700. The Reds will send out right-handed pitcher Rhett Lauder, who's 3-3 with a 4.60 ERA. He last pitched on June 13th against Arizona Diamondbacks. He went 5 2/3 of an inning, giving up 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. He will meet up against right-handed pitcher Cam Schlittler, who is 7-3 and a 1.82 ERA. Last pitch also on June 13th against Toronto in Toronto. Went 7 innings, giving up 6 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Tomorrow's game, Saturday, June 20th. First pitch, 1:35, available on Reds TV or WLW. Andrew Abbott will be on the mound for the Redlegs, going up against Will Warren. And in this 3-game finale, 1:35, available on Reds TV or WLW 700, Chase Burns will be on the mound for the Reds, going up against Garrett Cole. So you can tell that the pitching is not there. It's going to be a challenge. We're going up against the best of the best. And, let's see how we do. Will the tables be turned this coming up weekend? Or can we find a way to survive, take 2 out of 3, and come home with some positive news out of the Bronx? A little bit more about the Yankees. The Yankees are in first place of the AL East, 45-28. They're 8-2 over the last 10 games, and they are 21-13 at home. They took 2 out of 3 earlier this week against the Chicago White Sox. They took 2 of 3 in Toronto against the Blue Jays, and then they swept on the road. They swept the Cleveland Guardians on the road last week. So far this year, the Yankees are 0-3 in the NL Central as they were swept by Milwaukee back in April on the road. The Reds, on the other hand, are 35-38. They are 16-19 on the road. And we're looking out for guys like Ben Rice, who's been making head waves, as along with Aaron Judge. Ben Rice is 291 with 20 home runs. And Aaron Judge is 248, but with 17 home runs. And look, I think it's great. I love it when we get to go into the Bronx or Fenway or Chicago, and when we go into LA every year. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. But it could be a nightmare if we don't have our act together. Last time we went into the Bronx, we swept the Yankees on the road. Could we do that today? Not the same Yankees team that we saw 2 years ago. Definitely not the same Reds team that was in place a few years ago. So, Yankees, Red Sox this weekend. Then we come back home from Milwaukee and then head out to Pittsburgh and Milwaukee on the road in this stretch that includes Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Chicago all at home. Starts off with this weekend, I'll tell you that. Let's take a look what is going on around in the National League Central. Yesterday's actions, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Milwaukee Brewers 4-2, and the Kansas City Royals took aim against the St. Louis Cardinals 14-6. And so while we sit here and we talk about a potential upsetting, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be a tough series. I expect the Reds honestly to be swept. I don't have any ounce of confidence, and that's a sad thing. I want to have confidence. I want to have hope. It's hard, but they're going up against the best of the best. I don't have the confidence. Therefore, I don't think highly of the Reds. Well, if that is true, well, how can we stay in this picture? How can we stay in this format? Well, here's what we're going to want to see happen this weekend. We want to watch Kansas City do what they did last night to the Cardinals. We want to see Milwaukee drop a series. We'll talk about them in a minute in the upcoming series that they have this weekend. But we want to see the rest of the division perform terrible. We don't want success. And they all play against another team. So they have a chance. Their opponents have a chance to helping us out. We will be much grateful. Heading into this weekend, Milwaukee is 45-27. They begin a 3-game series against the Atlanta Braves starting tonight at 7:15. Saturday's game first pitch at 4:10 and on Sunday at 1:35. The Arizona Cardinals are 40-33. They began a series last night against the Kansas City Royals where they lost 14-6. They play tonight at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They are off again on Saturday because of the FIFA World Cup competition. They don't want to present a distraction to the host of the FIFA World Cup at the GEHA field in Arrowhead Stadium. So they will be off Saturday, and then they will have their conclusion at 2:10 p.m. on Sunday. The Chicago Cubs, on this other hand, 39-36, third in the division. They have a 3-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays at home. They are all at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Pittsburgh Pirates, who just wrapped up a series against the Athletics on the road, heads out to Colorado for a 3-game set. They are 38-37. The Pirates tonight at 8:40, Saturday at 9:10, and on Sunday, the 3-game series set at 3:10. So we wish, hey, Rockies, Royals, Braves, Cubs, or Blue Jays all do well this weekend, right? The other thing that I would honestly look at, and just, for consideration, just to entertain the idea, getting back, we are 3 games under 500. So let's get back to 500. How can we do that? Is pull off an impressive sweep over the Pirates or over the Yankees coming up here tonight. All right. In the NL Central, we'll talk about the NL Central here in a moment later. The Pirates last night acquired right-handed pitcher Hunter Stratton from the Atlanta Braves in exchange for catcher Joey Bart. Stratton will be sent to AAA Indianapolis. So the Pirates have acquired a right-handed pitcher and helped the Braves out by sending a catcher. Stratton was originally selected by the Pirates in the 2016 round, or the 16th round of the 2017 draft out of Walters State Community College in Tennessee. The 29-year-old has appeared in one of the games of Atlanta's this season, throwing a scoreless inning. In AAA, this is the AAA affiliates for the Braves. I believe, and he's recorded a 4.38 ERA, 24 and 2/3 of an inning. Stratton has struck out 24 batters and walked 16. His previous pitch for Pittsburgh on MLB in 47 games between 2023 and 2025. He was designated for assignment before the beginning trade deadline of July 1st, 2025 for the outfielder Titus Dimitriou and Cash. Bart was placed on the injured list as of May 12th, retroactive May 10th. With a left foot infection, he begun his rehab assignment with Single A Bradenton on June 10th and was transferred to Triple A Indianapolis June 12th. The former number 2 overall draft pick for the Giants in 2018 spent the last 3 seasons in the Pirates organization. With his return from injury nearing, the trade solves the catching question Pittsburgh was soon going to answer, already having Henry Davis as a strong defensive option and Andy Rodriguez, who is an emerging bat. So basically, the Pittsburgh Pirates have too many catchers on hand, and they decided to opt and trade him and got a pitcher out of it. Now, nothing's at a big league level, but it is what it is, right? So there you go. All right. Well, MLB All-Star voting is continuing on here. If you haven't voted yet, I encourage you to head out to MLB.com and vote for your favorite players between now and June 25th. For all your position players, you can vote 5 times a day per position per day. So if you're wanting to see Ellie De La Cruz and you're wanting to see Gino Suarez, well, you need to vote now. Okay? They're getting passed up. They're getting overlooked. And if you think that they deserve to be in the All-Star representing the Reds this year at the Midsummer Classic, then your voice needs to be heard. It is absolutely free. They only ask you for your information of name, phone number, maybe an email, but that's it. You vote 5 times a day for between now and June 25th, where it ends at noon p.m. So, I look at this list all the time. I see some players that I question, like, is that rigged? I see a lot of Toronto Blue Jay players, and I'm just asking myself, like, really, why? There must be a lot of people voting for players. And if you're smart, and I'm not trying to rig any votes, I'm not doing this, but I can only assume if you are someone who owns maybe several email accounts, that you log in using all of your email accounts. So, I'm trying to be as honest and as transparent as possible. I'm not one who will sit here and try to vote a particular way or be a biased opinion. I'm not voting for TJ Friedel or Matt McClain because obviously I don't think they deserve to be in. Not because they're bad athletes, but they haven't proven much throughout the regular season. But I'm also choosing, for example, Sal Stewart. Sal Stewart, to me, had an impressive first start of the season. Now, how does that kind of linger it out? Absolutely. I vote for Pete Crow Armstrong because he's been very impressive. He's caught my attention here lately in positive ways. It's kind of hard. I don't know. I don't think Shohei Ohtani is going to be a candidate for pitching. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. So that's kind of where I'm not voting for Ohtani there. I'm voting for Gino. But let's be honest with each other. Gino is not living up to his expectations. So, just things like that. If there's a certain player I think does deserve, then that's what I go for. All right, other baseball conversations here. MLB Mark Feinsand provided an article out there with 10 potential trade candidates and where they may fit. I wanted to review this article with you guys here on the show on a Friday because I want to just, I want to fill in that time for one, right? I only got halfway through the show this far. But I also want to figure out if it makes sense or not. So I'm educating you. I'm also educating myself and getting a chance to read this here. So this is all stats based off of Thursday. He starts off with Luis Ariz, who's the second baseman for the San Francisco Giants, and his career, he's posting a career low of 292 average last season. Ariz has bounced back in 2026. He's hitting 326. Look, if you're having a 292 as a career low average, and that's your lowest, man, you're doing something right there. 3 home runs, 30 RBIs in just 71 games during his first year with the Giants. Ariz has also shined defensively after returning to second base. His 10 outs above average ranking in the 99th percentile of the league. Ariz is on a 1-year contract worth $12 million. He'll be a free agent next season, making him a strong candidate. This is one of probably the first of many that we're going to see here in this scenario where, he's on a 1-year deal. He's not, so the Giants or any organization is going to want to get the bang for his buck. So the Giants, if they're not contending this year, may want to consider unloading $12 million, but see if another team is willing who is contending that could use a second baseman. And I feel like right now, second baseman's availabilities are scarce. And so the fact that you have a 326 average on a second baseman right there, the Padres already regretted that decision of not to keep him. So they have potential fits, Diamondbacks, the Rays, the Yankees, and I could definitely see the Rays making a push out of that. If I had to choose one, I think the Rays would be my vote. But a very strong suit. Byron Buxton's next on this list for the Minnesota Twins. He's a center fielder. He's maintained his desire to play his whole career with the Minnesota Twins. But if Minnesota becomes a big seller for the second straight summer, the 32-year-old could decide to waive his no-trade clause to move to a contender. Buxton, he's had 23 home runs, a 937 OPS in his first 63 games. He signed through the 2028 season at $15 million per season. So Buxton has a no-trade clause, but Minnesota's always, optimistic. They're unpredictable heading into the trade deadline. Even as contenders, what direction are they going to go in this year? And so if Buxton, I think if you are a good, talented player, that you deserve to go out there and win ball games and play for a contending team. But Buxton would have to waive that, and it would, Minnesota would be inclined to at least hear out options for Buxton to be traded to. Diamondbacks, Padres, and Phillies are potential fits, according to the writer here. And I can see the Padres making a push out to Buxton, but maybe even just Philadelphia is enough. Aroldis Chapman, a conversation we've had a couple weeks ago on this show. He's a left-handed pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. Ageless left-handed continues to dominate at 38. Impressive. Just 44 years old in his first 21 appearances while converting all 14 save opportunities this year. Chapman is no stranger to the summer trades. He's been dealt before, 2016 with the Cubs and 2023 to the Rangers, winning World Series of both years. So could Chapman be on the block? He's worth $13.3 million this season, and he has $13 million mutual option for 2027. So he'll probably be declined, but he may be back on the free agent. So do you try to maybe unload if you're Boston? You're dead last in the division. Maybe you try to get something of value of him, some prospects, sent out to a trader condition. And, he's a very key asset, probably a closer setup. They have a fit to the Mariners, Pirates, and White Sox. I think we threw out the Reds. I know it was a big probability, but it would be a bold move if the Reds decide, hey, let's go ahead and jab an interest on Aroldis Chapman. They used to have him. Never shows he's aged. It's worth the investment. With all the bullpen problems we have now, I don't see why not. Matt Chapman's on this list with the San Francisco Giants, third baseman, another player from the Giants. Including Chapman, Willie Adames, Rafael Devers. Chapman, who is owed $100 million over the next 4 years, is more likely of the trio to be moved as he remains above average as a Gold Glove at third base, while producing offensively 7 home runs, 41 RBIs in just 73 games. Potential fit, Cardinals, Phillies, Yankees. If you're a Cardinals, you're looking for a third baseman. Yeah, he's worth the value, but if you have that contract for the next 4 years, that may be an investment that worth taking with everyone else that you have. We go back to Boston with right-handed pitcher Sonny Gray. One of the few bright spots for the underachieving Boston Red Sox, gone 8-1, and with a 3.03 ERA in his first 12 starts, 36-year-old right-hander has a full no-trade clause, but the opportunity to move to a contender could prompt Gray approved to a deal. He's on his final year of a $75 million deal, while he has a $30 million club option for the 2027 season. He can opt out to become a free agent. So who could be invested? Potential fits, the Braves, Brewers, and Cubs, which are all looking into a postseason run. We got the right-handed pitcher, New York Mets, Freddie Peralta. The Mets have not started off the way that they wanted to this year. They went on a limb and picked up Freddie Peralta in a trade with the Milwaukee Brewers right before the season started. And, it's something to unload. I don't think that the Mets want to keep on extra money, extra starts. He's going to be a free agent anyways. Cardinals, Guardians, and Rays could be a fit. I think the Cardinals, I would like to see a good push, but possibly even the Rays. What about the Minnesota Twins right-handed pitcher, Joe Ryan? Another name if the Twins decide to finally move him. With only 1 year of a club control remaining in 2026, Ryan was 4-3 with 3.17 ERA. This scenario is going to be about getting your bang for your buck again before he potentially hits free agency. Cubs, Nationals, White Sox. Well, what about the White Sox? Contenders? I think it's always hard to see that transition into a within your division. One of the bigger conversations was left-handed pitcher Tariq Skubal with the Detroit Tigers. Immediately difference maker for any ball club, especially contenders. The Tigers are only 30-44, sits 9 games back of the American League Central, 6.5 games back of the wild card. So if the Tigers, if they decide to keep him, they got to make a push, and they got to make a push now to warrant that. If not, they may find themselves trying to see what other offers they have, especially since returning last week following a minor elbow surgery. Potential fits are obviously the top teams, Dodgers, Braves, and Yankees. I would go hunt down the Dodgers and try to see whatever thing I could get out of that. And trust me, there is stuff down there in the minor leagues that you can obtain. Gleyber Torres from the Tigers. He's another one. He's slashing 280 with 4 home runs. 29-year-olds earning $22.5 million this season, accepting for the qualifying offer. So the Tigers won't be able to recoup anything from him unless he departs as a free agency this winter. Potential fits are the Blue Jays, Dodgers, and Guardians. Maybe the Blue Jays, see what they have to offer there. Michael Wacha, right-handed pitcher from the Royals, is my last one here on this list, according to the article. Royals rotation posting a 3.64 ERA, AL high 94 innings this season, so the pitch count is up there. Disappointing season, could look to move as soon as 35 years old, who is earning $18 million this season and will make 14 next season and 14 in 2028. So if you're the Royals, maybe unload some of the roster. Athletics, White Sox, and Yankees are all in conversation. I could see him going to the White Sox or even the Athletics. The point is, we are inching closer to trade deadlines. Teams that are in contingency compared to teams that are not. And teams that are not have players that they may want to unload for salary reasons or for restart reasons. I hope that we don't find the Cincinnati Reds making those moves to restart. I know a lot of things haven't worked their way, but it's one of those gambles because you could trade and try to continue to push, and that may not make a difference either way, or you can choose to stay and see what happens. So that is my top 10 there. Alrighty, continuing in baseball, college baseball NCAA tournament, College World Series begins this weekend, June 20th at 8 p.m. available on ESPN. Game one of a best out of three series between Oklahoma and the North Carolina Tar Heels. North Carolina will be on the road on Sunday, June 21st against Oklahoma. First pitch at 2:30, available on ABC. And then if they do force a game three will be on Monday. Details of that still yet to come. That is your College World Series preparation. I got the Tar Heels winning. All right. Some news keep on spiraling around here. Thanks to the Giants last week, and I'm just going to speak on it here. Minor league baseball team forfeits game after players refuse to wear pride-themed jerseys. Let's read that article, right? Let's see what we can get out. All right. Minor league baseball team in Pennsylvania forfeits its Pride Night game on Thursday afternoon. Several players refused to wear jerseys that featured a rainbow design. In a statement, the York Revolution said it was a great disappointment that the team did not play the game and choose to forfeit. The team Pride Night event featured other activities outside the game, including fans batting practice, park tours, and music. Those activities were still held free to the public. This decision was not reached lightly. Unfortunately, several of our players have refused to wear the scheduled Pride jersey, and the club decided to host the event is more important than forcing players to wear jerseys that they are not comfortable with playing the game. The team wrote in a statement, the game was scheduled for Thursday against the Southern Maryland and was supposed to be the team's 11th annual Pride Night. To be clear, this action by the players and completely inconsistent with the vision of the most welcoming place in York. As a small token of our regret for last minute change of plans and support of the community, representing partners who are making a $10,000 donation to the Rainbow Rose Center to support further their work in making sure your community is as inclusive as strive to make a well-spanned park in York, Pennsylvania. The team wrote a statement. Okay. So just briefly, because I don't really necessarily want to get into this, but earlier this week, we talked about the New York Giants and how certain players decide to alter their jersey, their caps, their ball caps. They wrote biblical statements because they wanted to make sure that their beliefs are emphasized, not according to what the reasoning behind the change of design on the bill caps, but to their viewpoints. Okay. Therefore, it became a big thing around Major League Baseball this past week, where it caused the commissioner to issue warnings. Now, look, I don't care what ball club, what stadiums want to do. All right, that has nothing to do with the game itself. So if you want to go have any type of night, go have that at your own expense at the ballpark. But when it comes down to players, when you start altering the jerseys of players to represent something other than their organization, I'm talking about beliefs. I'm talking about the Giants are the Giants. The Padres are the Padres. The Reds are the Reds. The Yankees are the Yankees. You change their jersey like you do with City Connect for those reasons, right? To honor the city. But when you're honoring individuality and forcing other people who do not believe in that upon them to not only accept it, but to then support it, you're crossing the line between the game of baseball. The game of baseball and politics and religion and all that stuff should be separated to a fine distinct. What is the next thing MLB going to do? Ban people for thanking their religion based after games when they speak in interviews? Well, good luck. Well, because it looks like there's certain Reds players that ain't going to fall for that either. I feel like like I said, whatever events you want to do at a stadium is fine. You want to do it before the game, during the game, after the game, as long as it doesn't conflict with the game, that is fine and dandy. But do not force, do not shun upon the players who choose not to partake, especially when they're being forced to wear things that represent something that they do not follow. That's it. I support the players on all this. They chose not to play, and apparently there was enough of them that they didn't have a full squad. I support the players. I support the three Giants who wrote biblical verses. It didn't matter what they wrote on it, but if they did not want to provide support to that, or they wanted to make sure that they had that they expressed their own beliefs and they're not believing in that because that's not what they're, then that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Not whatsoever. We'll see throughout the year what else happens. But I don't know if this is going to go away anytime soon. It may tarnish the image of the game. All right, FIFA World Cup update. Yesterday, we saw a couple of great outcomes. We talk about Czechia taking on South Africa, tied at 1 apiece. Switzerland taking on Bonizia, as Switzerland won 4-1. Canada shut out Qatar 6-0. Mexico shut out Korea Republic 1-0. Today, we have 4 games. 3 of them available on Fox, 1 of them available on FS1. Starting at 3 p.m., Team USA will take on Australia in Seattle, Washington, at the Seattle Stadium. At 6 p.m., Scotland will take on Morocco at Boston Stadium. And at 8:30 p.m., Brazil will take on Haiti at Philadelphia Stadium. All those games available on Fox. On FS1 tonight at 11 p.m., we will see San Francisco Bay Area Turkey take on Paraguay. You know, they're in the countries, and I understand, hey, time difference, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that's 8 p.m. These games can happen pretty late. So far, this Group A, Mexico leads with 2 victories in the Group A, along with a 1-win victory with Korea Republic. Canada and Switzerland are tied at 1 apiece, or with 1-game victories, so they have 2 points, or 2 games played. Scotland leads Group C with 1 win. Team USA and Austria, who both picked up a victory last time out, go up against each other today in Group D. Germany and Ivory Coast are leading Group E. Sweden leads Group F Every team has Drew in Group G. Group H is the same result. Norway and France has won Group I. Group J, Argentina and Austria lead with a victory apiece. Colombia leads Group K with a win. Group L is tied with England and Ghana. For more information of your FIFA World Cup news, you can check out cbssports.com. Alrighty, tonight is SmackDown as we continue the road to Clash of the Night of Champions, which is next Saturday, June 27th, in Riyadh. As we inch closer, SmackDown has five match cards on being announced, big matches that for the first time in a while I haven't seen. That's been, hopefully it's actually a good show. But tonight, SmackDown will be held in the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri. As the five matches announced, we will see the number one contenders match for the United States champion, Carmelo Hayes, take on Ricky Saints. The winner will go on to face Trick Williams at Night in Champions for the United States Championship. Then we have the second matches of the semifinals of the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. Liv Morgan will take on Charlotte Flair. The winner of that match will go on and face Io Sky at Night of Champions. King of the Ring tournament, Javon Evans take on Jey Uso. The winner will go face Oba Femi at Night of Champions. Those winners will go on to earn themselves a championship match at SummerSlam. We will see the WWE Tag Team Championship match on the line. MFTs takes on R-Truth and Damian Priest. We will also see the undisputed WWE Championship match between Gunther and Cody Rhodes. Sami Zayn is the special referee that Gunther announced last week. So, I didn't lie to you. Pretty heavily match card for SmackDown tonight, 8 p.m. USA Network. Don't want to miss out. And talking about possible predictions, I would like to see Carmelo Hayes take on Trick Williams. For some reason, I'm going back to the whole, I want to watch Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams like they did back in NXT. And then, I don't know. I mean, MFTs are they outbeat R-Truth and the combination of R-Truth and Damian Priest. But are we actually going to see that happen? I guess not. I don't know. Really up in the air on that one. I think it's a no-brainer. Jey Uso wins the King of the Ring round here, beats Javon Evans to go on to face Oba Femi. We talked about some of those scenarios earlier this week that we could see happen. I feel like if you want to keep the WWE Universe on their toes, speculating about what could be the possible outcome, Jey Uso is the winner of that. Otherwise, you see yourself, I mean, if Javon Evans could pull off a victory, that will stun the world, no? And then we have Liv Morgan versus Charlotte Flair. I feel like this could kind of go either way, in my opinion. Liv Morgan is trying to reclaim or wants to become double champion, and she has a chance of doing it. I just don't see the WWE pushing that direction. So Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, two recent friends of Rhea Ripley. And maybe they go after Rhea Ripley, whoever wins. And right now, Rhea Ripley is dealing with a knee injury and is not competing. And they're going to push her as far as she can, hopefully to SummerSlam. But I think Charlotte Flair will find a way to win. It would be interesting to see who interferes in this match. Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez, or even Alexa Bliss in that matter. And then last but not least, we see a match number 2 between Gunther and Cody Rhodes. Look, I still defend Gunther. It was clear that, his foot was underneath the rope and the match shouldn't have ended that way. Tonight, though, is about Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn picks his side. Is he aligned with Gunther? Is he a heel? Is he gone down that route? Or is he, supportive of Cody Rhodes? And for me, I think that Sami Zayn wants that title just as much as anybody else. He gets overlooked. I think that Sami Zayn will try to help Gunther win, but ends up having Cody win. Because I don't see the reason why you will take the title off of Cody Rhodes at this moment. So Cody Rhodes wins, my opinion. Maybe I'm completely wrong in how it happens, but it happens. So, all right. Well, that was our show. It's a Friday. Got to remind you guys, I won't be back Monday or Tuesday. We'll return noon to 1 on Wednesday. We'll get you caught up on all the sports that's happening around the world and much more. So just keep that in the back of your mind heading into next week. It's the last week of June, and we got the All-Star game coming up here right around the corner. Summer's here, just beginning. Father's Day this week. I want to wish everyone out there who is a dad, who is a father, a very happy Father's Day. I'm a proud father of 3, and it's a big deal. A lot of great fathers out there, so appreciate all those fathers. I know my dad's has had a big inspiration on my life, so give him a happy Father's Day too. But we will be, but yeah, so happy Father's Day and all the other fun stuff. So that is all the time I have for you guys today. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to ask you guys to like, share, and subscribe if you guys like today's episode. Also, you can hit those notifications buttons so you don't miss a single episode. Also, follow us on our social media pages. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also tune us in, take us on the road with you wherever you get your audio podcasts from by listening to us on our audio podcast needs. Man, I am just stumbling over the end of the show today. But that is it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back Wednesday. Until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you Wednesday, noon to 1. Thank you guys for tuning in to the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin. Have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day.